take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in a resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow any feelings of worry, stress, or tension to feel like it's leaving your body in your outward breath. As you breathe in, feel how good you would feel if you were breathing in the most powerful, resourceful state. Absolute self-belief. Wonderful feelings of gratitude and joy. But also feel that any tension and stress is continuing to melt away, and feel how good it feels for any stress and tension to feel like it's leaving your body in your outward breath, enabling you to go deeper and deeper relaxed. As you scan your body, maybe you can notice tension in your forehead, around your eyelids, your jaw, your neck, or your shoulder. So as you breathe in, give permission to just let go. And as you let go of that tension, begin to feel more comfortable, more relaxed. Feel your eyelids getting heavier and heavier, and feel a wonderful sensation that you're drifting deep towards a place where your imagination becomes more active, more powerful. A place where you can play with the power of your imagination. And I want you to use that power of your imagination to imagine a ladder. Imagine this ladder is taking you down from the conscious to the unconscious, and feel that you're safely able to climb down the ladder towards the place where your imagination is at its most powerful. In fact, I'll count down from 10 to 1, and you will imagine climbing down the ladder, safely, slowly, step by step, towards the magic of your own imagination. Starting to count 10, taking a rung down the ladder, feeling more relaxed. 9 and then 8, continuing to go down the ladder. And maybe you're releasing tension around your neck and your shoulders. And maybe you can feel your arms becoming limp and loose. And still safely, 7 then 6, continue to climb down the ladder towards your subconscious mind. 6 and then 5, continuing to go down, and almost look down and imagine that you're traveling towards a world that exists only in your imagination. 4 and then 3, more and more deeply relaxed, feeling easier and easier to breathe in and breathe out, deeper, calmer, more and more relaxed. 3 and then 2, all the way down. And I want you to imagine 2 becomes 1, and you place a foot down in this imaginary world. And I want you to harness the infinite power of your imagination to imagine a giant board. A board game that represents snakes and ladders. I want you to imagine you're on a square that says number 1. And perhaps success for you is getting to the final square on the board of this giant board of snakes and ladders. I want you to imagine that In the real game of snakes and ladders, it's entirely based on luck, the roll of a dice that determines which number you fall on. But in this metaphorical game of snakes and ladders, I want you to imagine it's 80% intention and only 20% luck as to what square you end up falling on. And therefore you can set the intention to use your intelligence, your wisdom, your experience to simply avoid the snakes on the board and to identify the ladders in life that enable you to make faster progress. Because in life, there are two ways of learning. You can learn from mistakes, to fall on the snakes and slide all the way backwards. That's the way of learning that takes the most time. Or you can find someone that has already done what you're attempting to do, and by doing similar things, you're already climbing a ladder to make much more progress, faster and quicker than ever before. As you start to think within your life, who has already achieved or accomplished what I want to accomplish? And what did they do to do that? And in just thinking that way, you are starting to make progress toward the ladders on this giant board of snakes and ladders. Imagine making progress one square at a time. And it helps to know where you're moving towards. So I want you to create an image in your mind about what success looks like on square 100. What goal would you have achieved? How do you know the game is winnable? What evidence would you need to see to realize that you've achieved what you're looking to achieve? Because in the game of life, how do you know you're making progress if you don't know where you're going? So imagine this giant board, square by square, making progress. As you feel one step at a time, you're making progress. Open your mind to new ideas. That in the game of life we play each day, a board of snakes and ladders lay. Each roll of dice, a step, a chance. In life's grand board, a twist, a dance. The ladders stand for wins and highs, where dreams take flight and spirit flies. The snakes they twist with lessons sure, not setbacks, but roots to adore. For every snake that makes a slide, there's wisdom gained and humbled pride. And every ladder's rising rung speaks of battles fought and won. So roll the dice with heart so brave. In life's grand game, no mere knave. For each snake's hiss, a lesson found, and by each ladder we are crowned. So embrace the board, both snakes and heights, for life's a game of daring plights. No move is wrong, each one's a start in the empowering game of heart. want you to feel that you've made progress. Perhaps a quarter or a third of the way on the board game of life. And maybe you can see the numbers beneath your feet, maybe in the 20s or 30s. And maybe you've slid on the odd snake, but resilience and determination and tenacity is what gets you back up and continuing to move forward wiser than you were before. So imagine, through luck or decisions, you continue to move forward on this giant board game. And imagine each setback as a guidepost, not a hindrance, showing you a clearer path forward. Envision yourself learning the layout of the game, becoming skilled at sidestepping the snakes. Acknowledge every slip not as a fall, but as a chance to sharpen your strategy. To see each encounter with a snake as a lesson, making you more adept for the next round. And I wonder what would happen if you believed that with every slide down a snake, your ability to climb up again is doubled. That you can embrace the wisdom gained from each misstep, using it to fuel your next ascent. And perhaps your Snakes and Ladders board game isn't flat. What if it was multi-dimensional? Not just three-dimensional, but like some parts of the universe having wormholes that take you backwards and forwards in time to create pathways. And I wonder if every snake may just be a shortcut to a higher ladder. That you can feel empowered, knowing that awareness of the snakes is actually the secret to mastering the game. To trust that the knowledge from each setback is merely a stepping stone, perhaps even a rung of a ladder to greater achievements. You start to reframe each fall as an opportunity to rise with more insight and resilience. And if life is a game, then surely playing the game is just as important as arriving at the destination. So celebrate the journey of navigating the board, understanding that mastery comes from experience. Affirm to yourself that true failure is not in falling, but in refusing to rise. As you hold the conviction that each game played enriches your skills and sharpens your focus. I want you to imagine yourself playing with a good temperament, the right attitude, so that you can turn each potential slip into a swift recovery. Allow the essence of each experience to fortify your resolve to climb higher and with more purpose. And what if the game board doesn't exist other than in your own mind, and that you can rearrange it to your advantages? Maybe seeing the snakes ahead of time and just shifting them to a different square. And what if every snake was just a conversation starter with your inner wisdom, discussing the best way forward? As you think about history, remember that every great strategist use their stumbles and setbacks as the raw material for their success. So feel the liberation in knowing that each step, even backward, is part of your progress. Rejoice in the knowledge that the snakes are finite, but the ladders are infinite. That every detour isn't a setback, but a scenic route to your destination. Embrace the understanding that each game of snakes and ladders is practice for the grand tournament of your ambitions. Because the only lasting defeat is in not playing at all. And celebrate that you are very much in the game. As you summon the strength from the realization that in your game, every snake is a potential ladder, waiting for your wisdom to transform it, you feel no longer worried or scared by the snakes, but almost have this bring it on attitude. There is no fear of those snakes anymore. I want you to feel how wonderful it would feel to continue to make progress. Continue and see the numbers rising, perhaps the 60s and 70s, even 80s, with your mind fixed on what it represents to be on the square that's 100. And then imagine arriving on that square, feeling how you would feel if you achieved the challenge, the goal, the objective you have in your mind. What would it feel like? What would it be like? How would you celebrate that accomplishment? Feel those wonderful feelings, and then notice that on square 100 is a very, very tall ladder. And that ladder takes you back up to consciousness. So feel that you have unlocked the wisdom, the resources, the strategy within to do well in your own game of life. And then when you're ready, start to climb the ladder back from your imagination to being fully conscious. That all of this are just thoughts within thoughts, ideas within ideas, dreams within dreams. And as you climb the ladder, you're returning to the present and to reality. So take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, continuing to climb the ladder back to reality. As very soon I count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken feeling resourceful, motivated, feeling that you can do very well in the game that represents your life. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.